Welcome everybody. Today, we will be reviewing chapter 230 of Kengan Ashura. In this chapter, the Devil Lance Kuroki Gensai faces off against the Ashura, Ohma Tokita. Without wasting any time, let's start this review. On the first page, we can see the announcer Katahara Sayaka announcing the arrival of the fighters. She also states that both these combatants have defeated some of the tournament's favorites who were expected to win. Ohma Tokita claimed victory against Wakatsuki Takashi, and Kuroki emerged victorious against the Fang of Matsudo, Kano Agito. And now both fighters remain as the finalist of the tournament. Somewhere inside the audience, both Inaba Ryo and Sekibayashi Jun cheers on Ohma. Ohma hears their chants, but being his typical self, he just shrugs them off, which leaves both Inaba and Sekibayashi a little surprised. While they both observe Ohma, Inaba notices that he looks a bit older, while Sekibayashi says that he seemed more mellowed out. The referee then enters the arena and tells the fighters to take their positions. He shouts that he will be the closest to witness the representative of the 100,000 witnesses gathered here in the Kengan Dome. He then orders the fighters to take their stance. Somewhere inside the audience, Akiyama Kid notices that Ohma is moving strangely. The reason for this is because Ohma has activated his redirection kata ultimate technique called the marionette. It is a technique that amplifies the body's internal power, which allows the body to move with bare minimum amount of strength. He uses this technique due to his weakened state. In the beginning of this tournament, there were 181 fighters that entered. Only 32 of them fought in the main matches, and now, the best among them will be decided. The match begins. Ohma Tokita makes the first move and activates his flame kata, flash fire, but Kuroki sees right through this technique and effortlessly stops Ohma's incoming attack. Kuroki knows that Ohma cannot attack without coming into range, no matter what footwork he uses. Suddenly, Ohma switches to his redirection water kata, swimming swallow, and unleashes a barrage of attacks at Kuroki. He keeps on attacking, but something seems to be wrong, which Himuro picks up on. It is revealed that Kuroki is stopping all of Ohma's attacks. While blocking all of his strikes, Kuroki notices that Ohma's strikes have no power behind them, realizing that his strength is fleeting. Kuroki then retaliates and hits Ohma with a jab to the face. He then throws another jab at him, but it gets blocked by Ohma using his forearm, which gets bruised in the process. Kuroki then follows up with a punch to the gut. While he's assaulting a clearly weakened Ohma, he wishes that he had fought him at his healthiest. He then goes for a KO, and launches an attack towards Ohma. However, Yamashita notices something going on with Ohma as we see Kuroki's attack gets caught. It is then revealed that Ohma has now activated his advance. He is able to use his advance at this time, because he had managed to save his energy and receive treatment, allowing him to use advance one last time. On the final panel of this chapter, we see Ohma fired up in his advanced state ready to take on Kuroki. We then move on to the next chapter titled, Fusion. Kuroki is well aware of the risks that advance comes with, and notes that Ohma is bringing himself closer to death by using it. While holding Kuroki's fist in his hand, Ohma confirms that Kuroki's right hand is still injured, after it took the brunt of Agito's 1-inch punch, which proves that Kuroki isn't healthy either. Ohma begins to overpower Kuroki. But suddenly Kuroki retaliates with a spear hand, however Ohma quickly dodges, and hits Kuroki with a right knee. Ohma then releases his grip from Kuroki's right hand and unleashes a flurry of attacks at Kuroki. The announcer Sayaka is shocked at how fast Ohma is moving, and wonders how Ohma still has that much energy left in him despite his injuries. She also speculates that Kuroki is trying to counter Ohma, but he is unable to do so, due to his immense speed. Nizu Masami notices that Kuroki is starting to back down, and Inaba Ryo is amazed by how fast Ohma is. Sekibayashi also adds that once Ohma enters his advanced state, he doesn't stop attacking, but Ohma has gone way past his limits now. If he doesn't end this fight, he will be in trouble. Kuroki continues to block all of Ohma's attacks again, and even manages to strike him in his gut. He had expected this performance from Tokita, and remains unbothered from the onslaught of attacks. Ohma starts up his attack again, but each strike gets shot down one after the other. Kurei-rian seems a bit angry at the fact that Ohma didn't fight him like this, prior to when they both faced off. The announcers also points out that the only attack Ohma landed was a right knee, all his other attacks had been blocked. Kuroki has stopped Ohma's desperate beatdown, and is now starting to move. This shocks everyone, as they witness Kuroki advances towards Ohma despite the onslaught of attacks. Kuroki gets close enough to Ohma, and then goes on the offensive, but Ohma still doesn't stop attacking. Kuroki notices that Ohma's advanced transformation prevents him from using any form of Nico style to its fullest, which is something he takes advantage of, and lands a palm heel strike onto Ohma. He then follows up with a Devil's Lance, but surprisingly Ohma evades it, and then uses his Flame Kata, Phantom Pace, and lands a hit onto Kuroki. Ohma starts retreating, however Kuroki chases him. Suddenly, Ohma instantly rushes back, and throws an Iron Breaker attack which catches Kuroki off guard, but he manages to block it. The audience are left stunned after witnessing Ohma's insanely quick movements, and wonders how he can move like that. The technique Ohma utilized was called Flame Kata, Ultimate Technique, Earth Shrinking. The essence of this technique lies in standing on your bones alone without relying on your muscles. It is a form of footwork that relies on shifting your center of gravity to move, and its interval is clearly different from regular motions, such that it gives off the illusion to the opponent that the distance has suddenly shrunk. It is a form of footwork that takes its name from the sagely art Shikuchi. Ohma is finally getting the hang of using both the advance and the Nico style together, as he hits Kuroki with an Iron Breaker kick. Kuroki manages to block it again, and is left a little surprised by Ohma's sudden change in fighting style. He even compliments him, saying that he is not one to be trifled with. We then enter a flashback of a conversation between Ohma and Mr. Yamashita. We can see that Mr. Yamashita looks worried at the fact that Ohma plans to use advance in his next fight. However, Ohma explains to Yamashita that he needs the advance to win, because Kuroki knows the ins and outs of the Nico style, but Yamashita is still against the idea of using advance because of the strain that Ohma's heart had suffered as a result of the transformation, and by using it Ohma is basically ending himself. However, Ohma reassures Yamashita that he will probably be fine, and states that he had caught on after the second round. Mr. Yamashita questions Ohma on what he meant when he said he'll probably be fine. So Ohma begins to explain that back in the second round, he didn't realize that Setsuna had undone his shackles and let his advance go berserk, which is ironic that going berserk made him realize this. He also points out that he came up with all of this a second ago, and that he tried to get it out before he met up with Yamashita, and now he thinks he can pull it off. Upon hearing this, Yamashita is left shocked as he realizes Ohma is going into this fight cold. Ohma continues to explain that now that his shackles are off, he's got a perfect control over his advance, to the point where he can regulate its output at will. He also notes that if he suppresses the output, he can't increase his power like he did before. But if he decreases the output, the Nico style would put a lot less strain on his body while utilizing the advance. The adamantine kata is especially incompatible with the advance because it involves tightening the muscles. In the worst case he would rupture his blood vessels, but now he can use it in battle against Kuroki. Yamashita watches the battle with great concern for Ohma. For he knows this might be his last match. He only hopes that Ohma can secure the victory like he always does. We've come to the end of this video. However, if you want a continuation of this fight, let me know in the comments. Until then, goodbye and have a great day or night.